Hello, welcome to part two. Sorry, I usually try to cut that out. Sorry. Just figure it's more formal that way, but I don't know. So we have a very interesting tarot card spread. I'm having a bit of difficulty reading these cards, so um, I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. Because here's my video. Um, but other than it may be a little bit difficult to interpret, I think that overall, these are all very good signs. Um, I think if the cups were reversed, I think that would be a really negative meaning and interpretation. That's why I think it's so interesting. We have this reversed Six of Swords moving on from a negative situation. Um, we have this obvious logic, thinking, reasoning, debate, communication, news. That is the air element, an obvious kind of, I don't want to say problem, but uh, going against the flow of the current. Like salmon, right? Don't they swim against the flow of the river? We have a bit of this kind of uh, a bit of a tough and difficult time with the sword element. I don't know why. Um, according to our puppy pet friends, depending on your temperament, pet babies. It could be because the craftsman is not at work, abilities are not being demonstrated. So I would say that would probably indicate a lack of opportunity. Um, but this lack of opportunity is very nice for our pet friends and family to get that card. And I think they're going to get their wishes fulfilled because this from our obstacle on is just full of opportunity here. Um, So we have a lot of superiority, right? We have the superiority expressly written for this Emperor card and this Hierophant card. And I think their superiority, not it's not expressly written in the definition and meaning, but this Hermit I feel is very a lot of superiority in thought and to me as a tarot card reader, that's what the Hermit means. And for things to be reversed, I think is quite interesting for this week's tarot card spread. Um, Not necessarily the most negative, but just kind of a little bit challenging and a little bit more difficult. Um, which is probably why we see this Hierophant reverse too. This Hierophant is not going to is going to again emphasis on superiority and not just in title but in ability and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I think overall this is a really great spread. Our relationships and our water seems to be just really great. Absolutely zero complaints. We have a celebration of life and living in harmony with those around us. So our water and our hearts seem to be really protected. It's our air element that seems a bit vulnerable. Um, And I forget what element the Hierophant is. Let me go check 1 second. Okay, so the Hierophant is the earth element, according to this card tarot. The Dragon Tarot, they don't assign an element for the major arcana deck cards, but you know me as your tarot card reader, I really do appreciate this kind of symbolism and that the elements do bring. At least for me, hopefully I explain it right. So the Emperor here is a fire element, and the yin and yang is, of course, the Empress and the Emperor. The Emperor being fire and the Empress being the earth element. Just in case you want to know, I think again, the elements kind of help organize this a little bit. The Hierophant here reversed is the earth element, and the High Priestess, the yin and yang for the Hierophant is High Priestess is water, and the Hierophant is earth. So yeah, I think there's a lot of logic going on. A lot of, I would say, of focus, discipline, and determination. Lucky for us this week are emotional relationships, and including ourselves, right? Rose quartz is going to be really protected and go really well, and we don't, not going to have any sort of stressors or anything like that, which is good. And our stressors are going to be this kind of intellectual and logical kind of situation. We have this earth and fire with this Six of Coins and this Emperor card as an obstacle and influence. I think that's interesting. The obstacle is wanting to be generous, but the need to be discriminating. I think probably as far as the air element might have something to do with that, this kind of holding a grudge and a non-lifting of tensions and what is it called? Yeah, holding a grudge and not moving on from a negative situation or something like that. Or maybe moving past a positive situation. I don't know. I think this Six of Coins is really interesting for that. I would say it would have a lot to do with respect, and luckily is separate from our relationships we have here. But nonetheless, there is some sort of problem with these swords and this need to be discriminating. I think maybe an example could be somebody who maybe apologizes if they recognize that they've done something wrong. But for some reason, I'm thinking maybe that's not enough. The need to be discriminating maybe is there. This very much superiority emphasis going on, I think, is very interesting. So yeah, again, I think it's interesting, not again, but to note, another thing to add is we have the Six of Swords and the Four of Swords here hidden. And they're not knights, they're not pages, knights, queen and king, which would demonstrate superiority. So I think it's very interesting. We have this 4 and 6 here next to this Emperor, Hermit, and Hierophant here. So yeah. Which I think what might be maybe our adversary or antagonist For some reason, they might think that they've gone up the ladder of this Four of Swords and Six of Swords, but maybe in fact they have not passed their test, and they have not approached this Four of Swords and Six of Swords, whatever that could represent, in a masterful and skillful way, as to continue up the suit to the Knight, the Queen, and King, potential, fulfilling of potential and stuff like that. So yeah, I think for some people, this Hermit card as the advice and solution might not be so pleasant, but a good thing that this we have this Nine of Cups and this Six of Cups here, to kind of balance that out. I think maybe for some people this Hermit card is not the best type of, I guess, environment to work in, but I think overall the skills that the Hermit can represent is going to be probably absolutely necessary. I think it's really interesting. We have the Emperor, the Hermit, and the Hierophant here at the tail end of our horseshoe today. So whatever, I think, just to note, whatever may be challenging and frustrating, I think overall is going to be a plus and a gain for us, and even though it might be quite unpleasant at the time, but yeah, yeah, it's a very interesting tarot card spread today. Let's just see what I draw. And also to add, I think maybe this earth, fire, and this earth and fire element, I think is really probably going to be our antagonist's weakness. Considering the example of maybe holding a grudge and not moving on, when somebody apologizes for their wrongdoing, would probably be a better path not to move on from that. You know? So whatever that example may symbolize, I think their weakness is going to be this fire and earth element, which makes me again really happy that this Hermit, which is I want to say light element or air element. Let me look again what this Hermit is. Earth. Yeah, earth element. Which is very interesting, I think, because a lot of times we talk about it, it seems very like it would be an air element. So I think it's interesting that the Hermit is earth element, at least in the Crow Tarot, which I'm taking and bringing to the Dragon Tarot. This is your tarot card reader. Okay. I'm trying to draw a sea turtle, and I'm wondering the pattern, tortoiseshell. I know you can be referenced with cats. You can have tortoiseshell cats. We had a tortoiseshell cat. Her name was Pumpkin. Um, it's like a calico cat, but tortoiseshell. Um, but as far as like the pattern of tortoiseshell, like for like clothing and stuff, or I guess maybe glasses, right? Glasses frames. Um, I heard about that on a family vacation when we were around a sea turtle. I'm wondering if the pattern of tortoiseshell is it just with sea turtles, or is it just any turtle or tortoise? I'm drawing a sea turtle. Because I'm drawing a sea turtle because I think definitely the water element, a celebration of life, and I think just to get kind of like mystic about things, I think also sea turtles can be symbolize maybe this kind of reversed hermit, very kind of logical, right? Kind of like an octopus, but a sea turtle. Maybe the octopus can be the Six of Coins or the Emperor, right? Okay, so here's what we have so far. She's got a sea turtle on her head, maybe protecting her head. Kind of this relationships, right? The cups element, and I guess this earth element, this hermit over here. Her mouth is reversed though, to remember this reversed 6 and 4 of swords. And I think her braids, I'm going to give her braids. I think that can be the 6 of coins. This kind of scale balancing generosity and discrimination. The need to be discriminating. And maybe we have, maybe I, as a tarot card reader, maybe I just keep doing this, but I see cards here like this reversed Hierophant, this reversed Hermit, this Emperor, this Fire, and this kind of light here. We have cards that uh, could symbolize a different way to describe these cards. I think could be the High Priestess. The High Priestess is a bit mysterious, not being coy, but an emphasis on the hidden and kind of, I hate to say occult, but like this kind of mysteries of the universe, this kind of just this unknowns and realm of secrets and maybe therefore privacy. But yeah, I see a lot of cards here, which another way to explain it might be the High Priestess. This little hermit here, the High Priestess, she usually depicted with her is usually like candles, and which might be this hermit here. Let's see him. We have the Emperor with this Martian orb and arrow. And maybe as far as our air elements reversed and this Hierophant reverse, um, I drew like little birds. There's a small bird over here, and it just keeps getting bigger and growing, right? And there's some sort of air, communication, logic with each one. So maybe if we have an adversary this week, whoever it is that we are holding a grudge to with, maybe it is with this air and Hierophant element working up the ladder is, like I said, is something that they have not accomplished, even though for some reason it seems like they have. And I guess I'm just going to draw some candles on the sea turtle's back and be done. Okay, so here's this week's tarot card or drawing. I have the window open in case you're wondering. So yeah, very interesting. I would say overall pleasant, especially considering our upright water going on. But we have, I think, probably a worthwhile sacrifice, a challenge that we accept, and maybe we pointed out, accept, and definitely succeed at. So that's great. A very interesting tarot card reading this week. Hope you enjoy. Oh, here's another bag. Anyway, let me know your questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, hermit meditations. Need to be discriminating or generous situation. Moving on from a negative situation. Maybe your stressors, lifting of tensions. Or maybe not. Which I think is probably the best decision if that's a decision you make. Gut instinct, right? Emperor, you're doing is not writing a comment. That's fine. Anyway, I look forward to the next tarot card reading.